Hey, what's going on?
Not much, buddy. How's it going?
It's good, but I'm one thing I'm like really well, I got a little bit of a cold. Uh-oh.
COVID.
Right. Speaking of which, so the other night I'm hanging out at let's just say a quasi volunteer, no volunteer quasi paramilitary organization that occasionally puts out fires.
Mhm.
And so I've been really busy and I've been traveling a lot, so I hadn't been there in a while. So I've I finally decided to fucking show up. The So either way, a guy who I've known for years who is in the department and serves a role. Actually, I don't want to say too much because I have friends that listen to this shit. But either way, it comes out and just asks me if I'm vaccinated. Now, this is now,
Wow.
October 2022. And then I look it up. I'm like, yeah, absolutely not. So then he's like, oh, so do you believe the earth is flat or round?
Holy Christ.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I get it. He's breaking my balls. It's not like I don't know the guy. So I'm like, I laughed. I'm like, it's definitely flat. So then he's like, we're talking a bit. And then I said, look, man, I go, you do whatever you do. I go, that's not my business. Then he turns around very condescendingly and is like, well, I'm glad you allow me to feel that way, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just treating this motherfucker with respect. So, I'm like, all right, you're an asshole now. And I've known this fucking douchebag for years. Now I'm fucking done. I'm like, I just basically cut the conversation off.
Yeah.
And then I left. So moving forward, I'm just really not going to interact with this asshole. I mean, you learn a lot about people when when you disagree on certain things.
100%.
Because all he really said to him, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, does the vaccine prevent you from getting it or stop transmission like they originally promised? And then he just kind of stared off into space.
Yep.
Because it fucking doesn't. It doesn't work. Holy fuck. So, based on, listen, you don't even have to we can get into the, industrial, pharmaceutical, political complex, which definitely fucking exists. I'm sorry, man. When the CDC, the WHO, the FDA are funded by the very pharmaceutical companies that are paying to get their drugs passed, when 75% of advertising on major media is all pharmaceutical companies, when in our country, there are 2 pharmaceutical lobbyists for every congressman and senator in the United States, holy fuck. Same shit can be said for, pesticides, food, DDT. And it's not like it's not necessarily like, a conspiracy. It's more or less like how the business has evolved over years to be set up.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're the only country in the world that, other than New Zealand, that allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise on the fucking programs. We're the most, and they're, from what I understand, more restricted than we are.
Yeah.
So, you're buying into this shit. I'm like, look, man, I'm like, I know more people personally who have died within days or weeks of getting vaccinated or a booster than I do that have died from actual COVID.
Exactly.
Now, that's just my personal experience. Obviously, these are not it's not a study by any chance. So when all these things are adding up, when they're like, get the vaccine, I'm like, to get a vaccine, to market, it takes like 10 years of development. So, they've got like various levels of trials, but this like warp speed bullshit that went in there. I mean, look, I don't want to get down the rabbit hole here because, a lot of it is, there's arguments on either side, which is the point of it, right? So my biggest thing is like they told us vaccine was going to do stop transmission and stop you from getting it. Then they said, no, it won't do that.
It'll lessen the symptoms.
Lessen the symptoms and prevent hospitalization. Yeah. But there's no study on that. The only study they have is the one they're currently conducting now in the human race. And then why are nations with the highest rate of vaccination have the highest rate of COVID transmission and the highest rate of deaths?
Yeah.
I don't know. So right now, if you had told me, hey, and it actually fucking worked, again, it's technically, not a vaccine. It is a gene therapy. So there's also some evidence coming out that if it helps, it's preventing cancer. It's like creating, because there's something to do with the spike proteins. And I just heard this yesterday. So I don't know how true this is, but there's some speculation that it weakens the body's ability to fight cancer.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, I'm like, there's like, holy shit. And the way this thing has been handled, where it's like, at the end of the day, dude, I'm not telling you or anybody what your personal health choice should be. Right. But, this motherfucker doesn't know my medical history. He doesn't know my family's medical history. And the fact that they're sitting there that really only 3% of children have been vaccinated under the age of 5 in the U.S. is fucking refreshing. There is no system, for people under the age of 35, 45, the deaths from COVID are statistically like damn near zero.
Yeah.
And it gets lower as you come down. So the fact that you're sitting there trying to fucking vaccinate your fucking children over this shit, where it's like the complications for COVID and the complications for the virus, what they would say are comparable. So still very low percentage, but at least I'm letting nature decide if I get the virus or not. Then I'm letting my body develop an immunity to it and become stronger. Or I'm going to definitely inject myself with something that may cause me to, have an adverse reaction, which again is wildly underreported on the VAR system, but there's still reports are coming in. And I think what's happening is that there are doctors now that are finding a voice and coming out with all this shit. So anyway, this asshole, is like, is talking talking to me like I'm a fucking moron. All right, he's got an argument there. But at the end of the day, man, you don't fucking tell me what's best for my health. You don't know my medical records. You don't know my medical history. Who the fuck are you? The balls of you to fucking just say that shit. So fuck you.
Yeah, if you're listening, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. This is shit. I'll see him and I'm really just not going to interact with him. If he brings it up, I'll be like, look, what you said was really disrespectful. You have no idea what my medical history is. I completely disagree with you, but offered you a modicum of respect with what I said, and you fucking got on my shit. So stay out of my fucking way. Fuck you. We're done. God bless. Fucking done.
Fucking Jersey attitude. You're not bros anymore.
Yeah, asshole. And by the way, just so you know, even the fact that you're bringing that up under those conditions in that situation, you are a shitty leader and a shitty teammate. Okay, we're supposed to be doing shit under stress, and you're supposed to be in some position of authority, and now you're bringing up this bullshit, right? In the capacity of whatever service you're giving, now you fucked up. That'd be like, you're a lieutenant coming in and knowing you're, a Biden guy, and then he's wearing his MAGA hat. And now you guys got to go into fucking, you guys got to go into combat together. Yes. And he's gonna, and you're gonna fight. You're like, fuck you. It fucks the whole dynamic up. That shit, politics, personal bullshit should not exist in that space.
100%.
If we were hanging out at the bar, party, listen, you talk shit. Yeah, okay, fine. You're a civilian. I go right ahead. But once you're in that role, all that shit's gone. And you should do your best to kind of mitigate it and just fucking, cool it out.
Right.
But he didn't. So now he pissed off this fucking lunatic. And I'm just like, fuck you. And if he were tougher, I would have choked the fuck out of him.
And we would be doing this podcast today.
Right. I'm like, that's because that's my psycho compulsion with everything. But, I do my best I repress it because I'm a fucking adjusted civil like human being.
That's right. And while you're on this rant and fucking wanting to kill everybody, how's the concealed carry fucking permit coming along?
Great, thank you. So the judge, when they do a deep dive, they see this, I'll definitely won't get it. So what's happening? Well, right now it's in front of the judge. It has been. Friday will be about a month, right? That's like the 14th. So what happened? So what's happening in our county? Like different counties in the states are kind of like doing their own fuckery, which is completely unconstitutional because it goes against the laws of the federal government. Either way, eventually they'll all get worked through and knocked down. But what's happening is that there's like if you're an immediate threat or danger kind of clause in our government where, let's say you get in a fight with your wife, right? And there's a domestic dispute. Cops come, she filed charges. They can confiscate all your weapons until, it's settled.
Yeah.
Right. So, especially if guys going through a divorce, note to self, give your weapons to a friend, have a sheet of paper with the inventory on it. Keep a copy for you, copy for him. So like during this time, you will be holding these weapons, they belong to blah, blah, blah. So definitely do that. But so that's what that's for. So now what the judge is doing is like, if you're applying for a CCW, and let's say you had a DUI a few years ago, let's say you have a domestic dispute in your background, at any time, whether it's expunged, but let's say if you're a juvenile delinquent, let's say, you stole a car, did something like that. They will not only withdraw, decline your application, but then the prosecutor will come and confiscate all your weapons.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So if I get a call from the judge to come down, that's not a good thing. Granted, I haven't had a speeding ticket in like decades. So
far, so good.
So I should be good, right? I mean, and none of that other shit, believe it or not, in my background. So, because it's not like I got, I grew up in a time where it's like, there weren't cameras, there weren't, it wasn't any of that shit. So, if you got in a fight, you could kind of disappear. If you got attacked, you could kind of disappear. So yeah, there's none of that. So
for anybody watching this, you've never done a bloody fucking thing.
Correct. Ever. Well, if you read any of the posts on social media, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with you. So, so now,
if he was tougher, I'd have choked him out. Great.
Right. Exactly. So so if you do get a call in Bergen County, and I will say I've listened to the Gun for Hire podcast because they're directly, it's a local gun range and business that is directly involved in this. They're covering it quite well. If you do get a call, you should get a lawyer and go down and withdraw your application, because if you don't, they're going to continue and confiscate your weapons and shit like that. Wow. And yeah, it's fucking nuts. And speaking of which, though, so tomorrow I finally can get my new P365.
Beautiful.
So this is an airsoft replica of the weapon. So the rounds are in here. By the way, this is a pain in the ass loading this thing. And if you let the spring go, they all go flying out.
Awesome.
But I will tell you, this has the look and feel and weight of the weapon. The only thing difference, it has a safety on it. The weapon does not. But other than that, you know, the slide doesn't go back as much, obviously, but it's still to practice like concealed carry draws, dry fire, shit like that. The airsoft, again, I can't stress this enough. These are great tools. You know, CO2 goes in the mag, and it just operates and feels the same weight as the actual weapon. It's funny. I tell people, especially if they're on my, if they're at my range, what I do. And, like some guys will give you a look like, why are you bothering with that when you can come here and shoot for free? I'm like, dude, you cannot practice running, drawing, and shooting unless you're on an appropriate range.
Yeah. You look at a fucking funny running around doing that.
Yeah. Well, again, you just hit and line it up, paper targets. I mean, so like our range, our gun club, you can't even draw from the holster. So, the only way to do that is this, right? I mean, unless you're doing dry fire, but at least this has got, I mean, look, it's obviously doesn't have the range or the accuracy of the actual fucking gun, but this will allow me to, it allows you to carry it, conceal it how you're going to conceal it, draw it, move, get behind shit, bang, 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 bang. And that's it.
All right, now you got to plug. Where'd you get it? What'd you pay?
Oh, this was like $89 on Amazon.
There you go, guys.
Every weapon you have. I have a replica of my AR-15. I have a replica of my my SIG, the P228. I got a replica of my revolver. Anything that I'm going to carry or use, I get an airsoft replica of to practice weapon retention, practice drawing under stress, practice, this way, obviously, first off, if you go to a regular range, you're not going to be able to draw and move offline and do the other shit that you would do. It's in a very controlled environment. So, and also if you happen to fucking shoot yourself with this, it just maybe sting a little bit.
Yep.
Right. So you could totally, again, develop that muscle memory, and, work on your own. So yeah, really, great tools. And everyone who's serious about shooting for self-defense, does this.
Yep.
If you don't, plus again, you'll pay for it within like a few hundred rounds.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, because the plastic BBs ain't shit. Right? 9mm, like 39 cents a round. I mean, shit, it adds up. So again, strongly recommend. All right. So I'm just